It was a sticky, hot Tuesday morning in mid-August. The sun barely peeked over Ridgefield, Georgia, painting the sky orange. A beat-up pickup truck rolled into town. Out stepped a tall man, old jeans, faded t-shirt, worn-out boots. Baseball cap pulled low. No grand entrance. Just quiet steps and steady eyes. That man was the new chief of police. No one knew yet. He wanted it that way. He wasn't here for show. He wanted to see the real Ridgefield PD, not some polished version for a press photo. The place had a smell, old coffee, leather, bad habits. Whispers of racism, corruption, and dirty power had followed the station for years. And now a black man was stepping into the hot seat, smack in the middle of a mostly white department. He knew what was coming. But he didn't flinch. In the lot, cops stood around sipping coffee, swapping jokes. The chief walked in through the side door, silent, unnoticed. Just how he liked it. Inside, nobody looked twice. He could have been a stranger off the street. Perfect. Then a voice sliced the air. "Hey, you lost, buddy." A white officer stood tall. Badge polished. Smile cruel. His nameplate read Kyle Stevens. His voice oozed arrogance. "This ain't a shelter. Take your dirty boots and walk out." Two more officers leaned back, watching like it was a comedy show. Laughing. Enjoying it. The chief said nothing. Just stared, calm. Kyle stepped closer. Then leaned in and spit. Right on the chief's face. Laughter exploded. Time froze. The chief stood still. Silent. Slowly, he wiped his cheek with a folded cloth from his pocket. His voice finally broke the air, calm and steady. "Is this how you treat everyone who walks in here?" Kyle sneered. "Only the ones who don't belong." More chuckles. But the chief didn't argue. Didn't yell. He just turned and walked down the hall like nothing touched him. The morning meeting was already in full swing. Laughter, coffee, small talk, until the captain called for silence. "Today we welcome our new chief, Marcus Bennett." The room froze. And from the side, he stepped in. All eyes locked on him. Especially Kyle's. The color drained from his face. The chief walked up, calm and direct. Dropped a folder with the department's seal on the podium. He scanned the room. No smile. Just truth. "I'm Marcus Bennett. And starting today, I'm your new chief." Silence. Thick and heavy. "I came in unannounced," he said, voice sharp. "I wanted to see things as they are." A few murmurs. A few glances. He raised a hand, quiet again. "This morning, one of your own disrespected not just me, but this badge, this oath, and the people we're meant to protect." His words cut clean. Kyle shifted. Face red. Hands clenched. "This stops now." He paused. "Let it sink in. Respect isn't optional. Without it, we fail not just each other, but the whole town that depends on us." He let the silence speak. Then added, softer but stronger. "This wasn't one man's mistake. It's a culture. A rot. And it ends here." If they couldn't rise up, he made it clear, they didn't belong. Then he stepped down. Walked right up to Kyle. "Close. When you spit on me this morning," he said, voice low, "you didn't just insult me. You insulted this department. This community. This uniform." He looked him dead in the eyes. "And that is not acceptable." The room had gone cold. The silence was loud. The kind of silence that cuts through pride like a knife. Kyle stood frozen, his voice barely a whisper. "I didn't know." But the man at the front didn't flinch. His voice, sharp and steady, cut him off. "That's the problem," he said. "You didn't care to know. You didn't think before you acted." He wasn't just talking to Kyle now, he was speaking to the whole room. His eyes swept across their faces. "This isn't about punishment," he said. "It's about accountability. And it starts now." He turned back to Kyle one last time. "Officer Stevens," he said, "you're suspended. Effective immediately. Internal investigation begins today." A gasp echoed through the room. Kyle's face turned bright red as he stared at the floor, too stunned to speak. The man turned back to the podium. His voice rang out with weight. "This is just the beginning. Accountability. Respect. Integrity. These aren't options. They're rules. And you will follow them." The air felt heavy. Everyone knew something had changed. The room slowly emptied. But the tension stayed behind, thick like smoke after a fire. He stood alone now, his hand resting on the folder Kyle had left behind. Kyle had stormed out, his pride hurt, his future shaky. He exhaled and made his way to his new office. It was small, tucked away in a quiet hallway. The door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside, an old desk, mismatched chairs, faded photos. Nothing fancy. But it was his. He sat down and let the morning replay in his mind. The spit. The smirk. The cold look in Kyle's eyes. It wasn't about one officer. It was about a culture, one that had been rotting in silence for years. The phone buzzed. He picked it up. Chief Bennett speaking. Chief, the voice said. It's Captain Holloway. I've started pulling Kyle Stevens' file. It's bad. How bad? 3 years' worth of complaints, the captain said. Excessive force. Racial profiling. Bad language during arrests. All of it buried by the old leadership. The chief leaned back, eyes closed. He'd seen it before. Power gone wild. Protected by silence. Get me the full records today, he said. And tell Internal Affairs they're working with me now. Understood, Chief. He hung up. His eyes drifted to the window. Out there, life kept moving. Mothers walked their kids to school. Teens rode bikes. Shops opened their doors. They all deserved better. And he wasn't going to fail them. Every day that week, he walked the halls. He shook hands. Greeted officers. Smiled where he had to. But underneath the smiles, he felt it. The whispers. The resistance. He's here to mess things up. You saw what happened to Stevens? He won't last. Change never came easy. Especially in places that had gotten too comfortable with the wrong things. Still, he didn't back down. One afternoon, a knock at his door. Come in, he said. A young woman stepped in, late 20s, sharp eyes, strong shoulders. Chief Bennett, got a minute? Always, he said. Take a seat. She sat, gripping her cap tight. I've been here 3 years, she said. And I've seen things. Bad things. He leaned forward. I'm listening. She glanced at the door. Then back at him. Officers like Stevens do whatever they want. And the rest of us? We stay quiet. Because speaking up, it could end our careers. He nodded slowly. But you're speaking up now. She met his eyes. Because I believe in what you said. Respect. Accountability. I want to be a good cop, but I can't do it alone. He saw something in her. Not just honesty, but courage. The kind that could spark real change. Thank you, he said. You're not alone. I need officers like you. She stood up, shoulders squared. You have my support, Chief. As she walked out, something shifted inside him. This fight, maybe it wasn't hopeless after all. But the real battle? It was outside. Out in Ridgefield, people didn't trust the badge anymore. The gap between the police and the people had grown too wide. So he did something bold. He called a public meeting. Flyers went up all over town. Meet your new chief. Speak your truth. That night, the room at the community center was packed. Mothers held their kids close. Shop owners stood with arms crossed. Teenagers slouched in the back, eyes full of doubt. He stepped onto the small stage. Thank you for coming, he began. I'm Marcus Bennett, your new chief, and I'm here to listen. A man stood up. Denim jacket. Baseball cap. Eyes burning with anger. My son got pulled over last year. For no reason. That officer made him sit on the curb like he was trash. No apology. No reason. Nothing. A ripple moved through the crowd. Murmurs. Agreement. The chief nodded. I hear you. And I'm sorry that happened. It should never happen to anyone. A woman stood up, her voice shaking. We don't trust your officers, Chief. Every time we see those lights behind us, our stomachs drop. We're scared. Her fear quieted the room. He stepped forward, calm but firm. I can't change the past. I can't erase what's been done. But I promise this, I'm here to rebuild. One brick at a time. We will hold officers accountable. We will remove those who abuse power. And we will earn your trust, one honest moment at a time. The silence that followed wasn't empty. Some faces still held doubt. But others, there was a spark. Not faith, yet but something close. After the forum, he stayed behind. Shaking hands. Listening. Not just to complaints, but to stories. Wounds. Warnings. A small boy, maybe 8, waited quietly near the corner. Are you really the chief? He asked. I am, the man replied, crouching down with a soft smile. My mom says the police don't care about people like us. He paused. No quick fixes. No lies. Just truth. I'm here to change that. And if you ever need help, you come find me. Deal? The boy smiled. Deal. That night, as he walked to his car, the city felt different. Not better. Not healed. But awake. This wasn't just a police department, it was the mirror of a broken town. To fix one, he'd have to fix the other. But finally, he felt it. Hope. Back in his office, he stared at the station below. The afternoon sun stretched long shadows over the lot. Officers came and went, faces tight with nerves. Change wasn't coming, it had arrived. Across from him sat Officer Maria, hands clenched in her lap. Silent. Struggling. I know it's hard to speak today, he said gently. But change doesn't start with words. It starts with action. Are you ready for that? Her eyes lifted. Yes, sir. I want to do better. Then start where you are. Speak up. Be the example. And know I've got your back. Her spine straightened. The doubt in her shoulders fell away. She nodded and walked out with new weight in her steps. Not fear, but purpose. He exhaled. These weren't headlines or viral clips. This was how it started. With one person, quietly choosing courage over comfort. But outside the walls of the precinct, things were far from settled. Ever since Officer Kyle's suspension, tension crackled through the department. Some officers were bitter. They whispered that the chief was an outsider, breaking things that didn't need fixing. But others, they were starting to look inward, to ask questions they had avoided for years. Still, the real battle wasn't inside the station. It was out there, in the streets of Ridgefield. The town split in two. For years, black families had carried fear like a second skin. And they had good reason. Abuse, bias, dismissal, all of it had gone unchecked for too long. One Saturday morning, the chief walked into Trinity Baptist Church, a pillar of Ridgefield's black community. The pews were packed, faces full of anger, exhaustion, and cautious hope. The pastor stepped up. This is Chief Marcus Bennett, he said. He's not just here to talk, he's here to listen. The man removed his cap and took the podium. His tone was quiet but unflinching. I know this uniform hurts many of you. I know trust isn't given, it's earned. And I'm not here to defend the past. I'm here to promise you this. While I'm your chief, this department will serve everyone with respect, integrity, and real accountability. No one clapped. No one cheered. But no one walked out either. He went on. Change isn't easy. It's messy. It's slow. But it starts right here. With truth. With listening. And most of all, with action. A small boy, no older than 10, stood up in the crowd. His voice shook. My dad says the police don't care about us. Is that true? The room went still. You could feel the question hang in the air like smoke. Marcus stepped down from the podium. His badge caught the light, but his eyes were on the boy. He knelt to meet him eye to eye. Son, I can't change what your dad's been through, but I promise you this, I care. And I'll make sure every officer here learns to care too. The boy gave a slow nod. His mother, tears at the edge of her lashes, pulled him close. That one moment cracked something open in the room. The meeting ended not with applause, but with quiet hope. Some people came forward to share stories. Others offered unsure support. It wasn't a fix. It wasn't a win. It was a first step. A fragile bridge built on honesty. Back at the station, Marcus moved with purpose. He walked the halls, talked to officers, asked hard questions. He listened. New rules rolled in. Bias training. Community engagement. Real talk about what went wrong and how to fix it. Some officers leaned in. Others didn't. One of them, Officer Kyle Stevens, fought back. He filed an appeal against his suspension. But the deeper they looked into Stevens' past, the uglier it got. Complaints. Abuse. Racist language. All ignored for years. His appeal? Denied. So he quit loudly. Called it a witch hunt. His exit shook the place. For some, it was a warning. For others, it drew a clear line. Change is here. Get on board or get out. Marcus stood firm. One night, sun setting outside his window, Captain Holloway stepped in. It's been rough, he said, but I think they're starting to get it. The younger ones. They're watching. Marcus nodded, tired but steady. Change takes time, James. But it's worth the fight. Months passed. Something real shifted in Ridgefield PD. Not perfection, but progress. New officers signed up, drawn to Marcus' way of leading. Old guard, stuck in the past, slowly drifted out. The ones who stayed, they adapted. They grew. They started seeing the town not as a threat, but as people. Neighbors. Families. Marcus showed up at local events, not as a cop, but as Marcus. A man who believed in doing right. At one of those events, a familiar voice called out, Chief Bennett. It was the boy. Marcus turned, smiling. Hey there, champ. How've you been? The boy lit up. Good. My mom says the police are nicer now. I wanted to say thanks. Marcus felt his chest tighten. That's all I ever wanted, buddy. For you to feel safe. The boy hugged him quickly, then ran back to his mom. Marcus stood tall. Around him, his officers mingled with locals. Talking, laughing, connecting. It looked like the start of something they'd all been waiting for. He didn't need to say it aloud. He felt it. Late that night, the precinct was quiet. Just the soft buzz of lights and the echo of memories. Photos lined the walls. Smiles. Awards. Thank you letters from people who once felt afraid. Marcus placed a hand over his badge. Felt heavier than ever. Not in weight but in meaning. Leadership wasn't about rank. It was about showing up every day for people who needed someone to care. He turned off the lights, stepped outside, and let the quiet night wrap around him. The fight wasn't over, but something had begun, and in Ridgefield that beginning was built on something real. Respect, accountability, and the belief that every person matters.